Hello, and welcome to the September edition of Dispatch Talk. Today, for our first half of our talk, we are going to have a beautiful, wonderful, well-needed conversation with Miss Vanessa Gant. If you don't know who Miss Vanessa Gant is, she is the money architect. She is my money architect. She fixed my life better than Iyanna could ever. Well, I still kind of need Iyanna for the rest of it, but she fixed the finance part of my life. I brought her in and kind of gave her full-fledged access to my books. And, she mean, y'all. I don't know if I told y'all that, y'all, those who don't work with her. She a little mean, but it was well needed. I was not doing some things the right way. And I had no idea what the word commingling was, but she got me all straight on the commingling part. So I no longer commingle unless I know that I can get away with it. So we're going to allow her to talk to you guys about what you should be doing, because it's almost tax season. So what you should be doing with your dispatch companies as far as tax-wise. And we're not going to do a full-fledged consultation here, y'all. So be asking all these questions, okay? We're going to have a moment for some questions and answers, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Ms. Vanessa Gant, these dispatchers on the phone want to know, what should they be doing with their dispatch company when it comes to taxes?
Dispatchers. Hi, guys. How are you all doing? So, like Tawana said, I am Vanessa, known as a money architect in IG land. I am the owner of Provision Accounting Solutions, where we provide accounting, tax prep, and tax plan services to the transportation and logistics industry. We help you get your books in order and pay the least amount of money in taxes legally possible. Let's remember that part. So what do I want to say about dispatchers? So Tawana told me, she's like, yeah, say that thing you always say, right? So there's a thing that I always say when it comes to dispatchers, right? So dispatchers, your dispatch company doesn't own any assets, which means, you're purely service-based, which means that you're not going to have a lot of write-offs. You're just really not. Your overhead is going to be low. Outside of the first year where you're probably going to buy a desk, you're probably going to buy a MacBook, you're probably going to decorate your office, but you're not going to do that stuff every year. So your first year will probably be your heaviest expenses. After that, you're going to have your load boards, you're going to have your admin help, you're going to have your subscriptions to different things that you have, and that overhead cost is going to be minimally low. What does that mean for you? That means that your tax liability, that means that your net profits are going to be high, which means your tax liability is more likely going to be high. So as a dispatcher, as a profitable dispatcher, you're more than likely going to end up in a situation where you will have a tax liability, AKA owe Uncle Sam some money. So who's telling me talking already, because nobody wants to hear that they got to owe Uncle Sam some money? Tell me, y'all not going to talk to me? Tell me who doesn't want to hear it. And then I'm going to tell you how to fix it.
Me. One.
Me, like in the chat, give me a one if you're tired of hearing this foolishness about you having to pay the IRS. One of the things that I do want you to do is definitely make sure that your business is structured properly. Don't be operating as a sole proprietor. You want to operate at a bare minimum as an LLC, because you want to create a degree of separation between you and your business. You want to create a degree of separation between personal and business. And as a sole proprietor, it's still personal, right? If someone decided that, they got upset with you for whatever reason because your dispatch company defamed them, if you are a sole proprietor, they can come after your personal assets. If you're an LLC, take all the money out the bank and say sue the company. Who cares? There's nothing in there, right? I get a lot about, how do I keep a track of my income and expenses for my company? I'm a QuickBooks advocate. QuickBooks Self-Employed will not be sufficient for you, especially if you want to start using the business income to qualify for, funding for your business or for credit for your business, because the self-employed version of QuickBooks does not give you all the financial reports that you will need to turn in. All right, so I'm gonna stop right there. How many people need to get QuickBooks? How many people don't already have QuickBooks? And that's how you should be invoicing your carriers. And if you decided that you wanted to put them on automatic payment or ACH, you can definitely do that in QuickBooks. So you don't have to keep chasing people for your money. It's like, okay, I told you that your bill on Friday is going to be $195, and I'm going to draft it from your bank account. Long gone are the days for you to have to send someone an invoice and wait for them to pay your invoice. Now their truck moved on Monday, you agreed to be paid on Friday or the next day. You don't need to you don't need to be waiting on them. Just set them up as a reoccurring payment and get your money. Okay, so I see that someone needs QuickBooks. I'm going to drop a link in there for you to get 55% off of QuickBooks for the first 3 months. Tawana, can I take some questions real quick? You okay with that?
Absolutely, we taking questions. Raise your hands if you have some questions for Miss Vanessa.
I can't see your hands. I can't see hands. I'm just playing.
I can see the hands. Okay. And there's a little raise your hand feature down at the bottom. So if you have any questions in reference to your taxes, or you can drop your questions in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and holler at us if you have any questions.
All right, I'm going to put this link in here to get your discount off of QuickBooks. That's a long one, but there you go.
So Vanessa, you have a mastermind course coming up. Tell us about that.
I do. So my mastermind is, I'm trying to hook y'all up, everybody on here, because the original price is $297. It's on sale for $197. I'm trying to get the code so I can give it to this group of people for $97. A whole whopping $200 off. So my masterclass that's coming up is based on personal finances. I am a really big personal finance advocate. That's where I started. And all of this, like I was broke as a joke. I owed Peter, Paul, and Jane. I was robbing all of them to pay each other. And it was about and it was about time for me to get my personal finances on track. And that means a lot when it comes into your business, because, you know, as business owners, we sometimes are a little afraid or intimidated of our business financials because we aren't as comfortable with handling our personal finances. Mm-hmm. So the course is really, is really geared towards setting that personal foundation, personal finance foundation, so that it sets you up to be able to manage your business finances. And I'm going to work on that code before we get off, so I can have you wonderful people come over and see with me. You're going to get a goal setting workbook. You're going to get a planner. You're going to get a bill plan, like a budget, aka budget planner. You're going to get savings goals, and you're going to get an instant replay of it where you will have it all the time. As we begin to hire, are there some things we need to keep in mind to do tax-wise in advance? Yes. Okay. So it's going to be really important for you to determine if your help is going to be a contractor or a W-2 employee. Mm-hmm. Right. It is very common in dispatching to have agents, and those agents be considered contractors. You want to make sure that you have a W-9 on file for each person. It is definitely better to have a W-9 on file where it's a business to business transaction, where you are paying that person under a business name or using an EIN number, not their social. The reason why I'm going to tell you not to pay someone using their social is because, if it happens all the time with drivers. If they get upset with you, they're going to be like, oh, I was an employee, and you got to pay me unemployment. I'm going to file an unemployment claim, and then it's going to be on you. One of the first things they're going to ask is, how was that person being paid? Even if they were being paid 1099, if they're being paid in their social, that's almost, the fight that you're going to lose, that they were a contractor, unless you have an ICA in place. So, and I definitely recommend that, an independent contractors agreement in place, in addition to their W-9, so that you have the right information to support you paying them as a contractor.
Absolutely. So again, an ICA is an independent contractor agreement. So any dispatcher that comes in that works on the Go side, they have to sign an ICA, as well as they get a link to register with QuickBooks as a 1099 contractor, so that they can get paid under their business names. So it's very important to have those type of things in place, for your own protection, and also for, the contractors that's working under you guys as well.
Yes, yes, yes. I see questions. I love it. Tax wise, Nadine's tip. Can I explain the difference between a sole proprietor and an LLC for tax purposes? Okay, for tax purposes, they are both taxed the same. Sole proprietor and an LLC are both pass-through entities, which means that it's going to go to your personal tax return. The difference isn't necessarily for tax purposes with them, it's about liability, legal liability when it comes to the SP, the sole proprietor, and the LLC. That's the biggest thing, legal protection. But they are both taxed the same as self-employed. Both of them will be subject to self-employment taxes. Can you use PayPal business until you get QuickBooks? Definitely you can. One of the biggest differences is, again, if you're looking to use your business as a source of income and for funding opportunity, the institutions are going to want financial statements. PayPal won't give you acceptable financial statements. Also, I don't know if anyone's been watching the news, but Uncle Joe, right? Uncle Joe, which is our president, has decided that there were thresholds, right? There were thresholds on when you will get your 1099-K. A lot of people use PayPal or Cash App or Venmo or whatever.
Oh, I saw that announcement today.
To escape having to pay money on all of their income because it didn't actually go through their AKA bank account. Well, you won't, according to what he's trying to pass, it hasn't passed yet. He's putting it out there like when you make your first $600, you're going to automatically be signified to get a 1099-K. I think it's on like Airbnb. Airbnb for some, doesn't issue a 1099-K, I think, until you get to $20,000 or $25,000. Well, so a lot of the people, I even had a client that said, oh no, I'm not going to report that. I was like, yes, baby, you have to report it. So you have to report all income. A lot of people thought they were skating under the radar. Because they didn't meet that threshold. So I just wanted to put that out there that if you are going to use it and, you were kind of thinking, well, I'm not going to report it this time, but next time, that chance may definitely be going away.
Yeah, I saw that earlier today and it kind of like brought me back. Anybody who's taking my class, they always hear me say, please, if you're running a real business and not a hustle, do not use Cash App to accept payments and things like that. So whether you use Cash App or not, Uncle Joe wants to hear, but he wants to know about it as of right now. So he's trying
the merchant accounts, because the merchant accounts didn't report until it was like 20, 25K. He wants to know everything now.
He wants to know everything.
I just wanted to put that out there so that you guys can be better safe than sorry. All right, so you got
Cash App is definitely not the way to go anyway when it comes to a business. You can't get any reporting. I don't even think Cash App has any kind of like customer service at this point. So we definitely don't want to be using Cash App anyway. But if you are, as you transition from it, just understand that $600 and above, you're gonna have to give Uncle Joe a call and let him know. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, then also understand that you reporting your income looks better for you, especially if this is like one of your main sources of income. Think about when it's time for you to qualify for your house, it's time for you to qualify for your car. You want to be able to show your income, right?
And that was going to be my next question, Vanessa. Okay. You and I have talked about changing my structure over so that I can have better reporting for like banks and loans and things like that. So what does it look like for someone in like my position as a dispatcher changing over from an LLC to a corporation?
I'm glad you said that because there's a question. I got a direct message on an SCorp. So a SCorp, a corporation, I do not recommend it for dispatches simply because unless you get to like, you're like a 7-figure dispatch business, right? I don't recommend a SCorp because you definitely get double taxation. So that's double taxation. The question is on an SCorp. So I have this question. I get this all the time. I'm an SCorp. And I go, why? Oh, because my sister said she was one. You know what I mean? But what else did your sister tell you? So here's the thing about SCorps. You want to make sure that your business is netting at least $40,000. At least $40,000. My reason being in suggesting that to you is because once you go over to being an SCorp, one of the first requirements is the owner or owners of the SCorp have to put themselves on W-2 payroll. There's this thing when everyone says, oh, if I become an S Corp, I pay less taxes. Well, you don't pay self-employment taxes, right? You can definitely pay less taxes because your salary will now be a business expense. As an LLC, you just take what we call as an owner's draw. And because it is passed back through to your personal tax return, you're taxed on every single thing. So let's just give this example. Let's just say the net profits in your business was $100,000 and you were a LLC or a sole proprietor. You were going to pay 15 at a minimum, all right? The self-employment tax rate is 15.3%. So you're automatically going to pay 15.3% in self-employment taxes on that $100,000. Hands down, if you're an LLC or a sole proprietor, right? Let's just say, okay, now you convert to an S Corp and the net profits in your business is $100,000, but you have yourself as an employee and your salary plus, the taxes are now, plus, the payroll taxes are now a business expense. So if you decided that you wanted to pay yourself $60,000 plus the payroll taxes, put you somewhere between, I don't know, maybe $65,000, $70,000 worth of payroll expenses. Now you're only paying taxes on $30,000 at your normal tax rate. I know I said a lot, but I promise you, if your business is netting more than $40,000, it will be worth talking with, your accountant to determine if converting your business to an S Corp will be most beneficial to you tax-wise. And, sometimes, it's not, sometimes, converting your business to an S Corp is not the right answer. Maybe you want to go buy a car. Right? Maybe you want to buy a car in your business name that's over 6,000 pounds that you can depreciate. So just kind of look at where you are and also taking into account your other revenue streams to help you determine when you should convert your business. Y'all ready for me to go already? Because I promise you, I swear, I said a lot. It's like, don't nobody want to hear all this foolishness. We don't want to do this. We just want to dispatch.
Right. But trust me, you want to do it the right way. We have one more question. Can you own a business and hire a spouse as a driver and pay their LLC? Where you at, Melissa? Melissa Robin.
She's still in here?
Are you still here, Melissa? Melissa, unmute yourself and explain your question.
Sorry, I was trying to ask. I'm starting a trucking business, but I wanted to be able to dispatch the truck, and my husband was going to actually drive the truck. So my question was, could I, as the owner, if he created an LLC, pay him as a contractor, but pay his LLC?
Okay, so which company will be you will be the sole owner of the trucking company?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and your husband is going to drive the truck?
Yes.
Yes, you can issue him a 10. You can issue him a 1099 as, just himself or as a business.
Okay. Thank you.
You are welcome.
You're very welcome.
Let's see what we got here.
Yes, to the person that asked, will you be able to view this? Yes, I do upload them to YouTube once it's over. Someone said great information. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I got one here, direct message. How do we know when and how to pay yourself as an LLC? As an LLC, you pay yourself in what's called owner's draw. What I like to recommend to everyone is to be consistent. Be consistent in the amount and frequency if possible. If you want to say, okay, I'm going to pay myself every Friday as an owner's draw, whether it be by check, transfer, try to stay away from ATM withdrawals. But if you're going to transfer money to yourself or write yourself a check or send a wire to yourself, that's fine, but it's still tax deductible. I'm sorry, not tax deductible. It's still going to be taxed as profits. As an LLC, anything that you take out to pay yourself, you're still paying taxes on it. It's not a business expense.
So do you pay taxes on it twice?
No. So as an LLC, you're only paying taxes on it once. Like all the profits from an LLC pass through to your personal tax return. So, whether you leave it in or take it out, you're still going to get taxed on it. As the owner of the business as an LLC, what you take out to pay yourself is not a business expense.
Gotcha.
It
Cool.
is only a business expense if you are on W-2 payroll.
Gotcha. Okay. And someone asked, having an LLC, do I still have to file personal taxes?
Your LLC is on a Schedule C. So like when you have an LLC, your business tax return for the LLC is on what's called a Schedule C. The information from the Schedule C flows through to your personal tax return, which is a 1040. So is it a separate tax return? No, but is it a separate form that holds all of your business financial information, the income and expenses? Yes. And then they go together. They're filed together.
Great information.
Okay. Miss Simpson, you need more information on what? Can you unmute and let us know what you need more detail on?
Yes, like the taxes with the SCorp. So like, I don't know, I feel like I'm a little bit confused about how you said all of that, because you did say a lot, but like the difference between if you make 40,000 a year
Net. Yeah, make sure it's net.
Net 40,000 a year. After that's when you start paying yourself, or before that you have to pay yourself and report it to the IRS?
No. So when I recommend that when anyone gets to the $40,000 net profit mark, that's when you will consider converting your business to an SCorp.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you have did that conversion, you can start paying yourself on W-2. But take into account other things too. Take into account if you have other revenue streams and things of that nature. So it's not like a cut and dry thing, but that's the minimum amount of net profit where I recommend that anyone that starts looking into converting their business structure to save money.
Okay.
That answer your question?
My last question. Yeah, it kind of answered my question, because I kind of opened as an SCorp, so it's a little bit different.
Are you paying yourself?
Transition. I'm not even making any revenue as we talk. But
listen, I want to say this too, that when you are an SCorp, you definitely file 2 returns. So that's one of the things too, when you're stepping out the gate, going into an SCorp, like SCorp returns, tax returns, the processing fee or preparation fee is a little on the high side. And you have to definitely file that tax return, even if you didn't pay yourself, you still have to file an SCorp tax return, and in addition to your personal tax return. So whenever you're an SCorp or a C-Corp, there's going to be multiple tax returns. When you are an LLC, there's going to be one. You're just going to have a significant, a designated form that needs to go with your personal tax return as an LLC.
Okay. That form, I'm gonna have to look it up. Thank you.
You're welcome. So great information. I know it's a lot of information, you guys, but it's very important information, because I see so many different conflicting things that are said out there about dispatchers and taxes. Dispatchers don't need LLCs and all that. So, me, I'm a firm believer of staying in my lane. So if it's something that I don't know, I bring in the people that are actually doing it in business to teach you guys and get you guys on the right track in reference to that. Vanessa, tell them how they can find you.
So you can find me on IG at IamTheMoneyArchitect.com. You hear that? .com. I am the Money Architect. I am also, there's also a page for my business, which is Provision Accounting Solutions. You can also find me at www.provisionaccountingsolutions.com. I'm gonna drop all that stuff in there. I almost got this link working. If you guys want to come over and see me in the personal finance masterclass, y'all getting it for dirt cheap. I think I got it working really quick, but that's exactly where you can find me. Or if you forget where to find me, if you find Tawana, you'll find me. Somehow God has connected us at the hip. So that's where we are. But before we do that, are there any final questions? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to know more of. And I'll put some of that information out there and answer a couple things here. But overall, as a dispatcher, your overhead is going to be low. Your ability to create and have a substantial net profit in your business is like 100% possible. Definitely making sure that you're keeping track of everything, making sure that all of your subscriptions are coming out of your business account. If you have any agents, making sure that you have your ICA, making sure you're having their W-9 so that you can pay them, and definitely be able to claim their pay as a business expense. And one more thing. Don't forget that, you're going to 1099 them and you're going to issue the 1099s to them, but it's not going to mean anything if you don't submit those 1099s to the IRS. Because if you submit those 1099s to the IRS, if you don't, but you claim it on your taxes, they're going to come back looking for you. Give these people their 1099s on time, because if you don't, you're going to get a penalty for not giving them their 1099s on time. You can there's a software out there that can let you do the 1099s if you're not using QuickBooks. If you're using QuickBooks to pay your contractors or your agents, QuickBooks will definitely generate the 1099s for you.
I love QuickBooks. I did not like QuickBooks at the beginning. I was really reluctant to use it. Oh my God, it just looked like gibberish. But I don't have to use it. I don't have to really pay that much attention to it. That's why I have Vanessa. But I do notice that it streamlines everything, like with the invoicing, with the 10, it's like really a button, and you push it and you say, send them their 1099s, like all 19 dispatchers get their 1099s all at one time. So it's like, it's great. It's great. So yeah, it is an expense. I do talk about that in my classes, that, you have what is it, Square, PayPal, and HoneyBooks that will allow you to send invoices and things like that. And they charge you guys a fee per usage. QuickBooks is a monthly fee. But once you get there in your business, especially if you've been there within already been doing this within a year and you have that revenue coming in, you definitely want to switch over to QuickBooks to make your life easier. Well, if we don't have any more questions for Miss Vanessa, we're gonna
wait.
her.
So I have one. I have a direct message. Startup phases. Any tips to set up properly? My biggest tip to you will be when you're in the startup phases of your business. Most times, we don't have our business accounts set up yet, and we're using personal funds. Definitely keep a list of any personal fund, any expenses for your business that are happening from your personal accounts, whether it be a credit card, checking account, whatever the case may be. Keep a list of that so that once you get your QuickBooks up and going, you can have your accountant actually manually input that information there so that you're not missing any expenses. Oh, and I completely forgot about this, but Tawana started off with commingling funds are just like a no. If you want the IRS to come back and jump down your neck if you got an audit, then go do that. What is commingling funds? Commingling funds is doing personal things out of the business account, and vice versa, doing business things out of the personal account, which makes it really hard to go back and track everything. And if you were to ever get audited and they can see that, you were commingling funds, they can definitely recall your expenses and make all of your income taxable. QuickBooks Essentials is what I would recommend you start out with. Wave invoicing is good. I just prefer QuickBooks because of the reporting. For me, being able to use like a little higher level reporting.
Yeah, if you guys get QuickBooks, you can always just hire Vanessa and then you add her as like the accountant, and then you don't ever have to go in there again. She does it. And then she'll send you these little mean reports like, what is this? Why did you do this? Why did you charge this? At first I was like, girl, this is my money.
But I don't believe that. And even with dispatches, I'm not going to say you don't need an accountant, but once you get set up, I don't believe that you need us on a monthly basis once you get started, like maybe to help you get set up. But then I would recommend you either check in on a quarterly basis or at least twice a year by October or prior to October, so that you can determine what your tax liability may or may not be. And then you'll have the entire fourth quarter to be able to put things in place to help you reduce your tax liability.
Yay. Great info. We appreciate you. You want to stick around for the next half of our dispatch talk. We appreciate it. But you guys, we will definitely drop that link in there. If you guys want to participate in Vanessa's master course, for $97, she's giving you a discount. We'll make sure you get that link. I'll also email it out to all the attendees as well. Somebody says, I will be calling you, Vanessa. What's your IG? One more time for your IGs, Vanessa.
It is, I am the Money Architect. So I'm going to hang around. I'm going to drop all this stuff in there. I'm going to hang around and drop it in. Y'all was nice. I felt like I was just talking. Don't nobody like to hear me talk about this money stuff and these scary, taxes, but I appreciate y'all.
No, anything about numbers is mean people. So we just let you talk.
That is not true. Appreciate y'all.
All right, y'all. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty. We got about 35 more minutes to talk about dispatching. For those of you who are on here that are new to dispatching, those of you who are in dispatching, we are, what is today? Today is the 27th. So we are 3 days away from what? Somebody say it. 3 days away from what?
Fourth quarter.
I was gonna say, if y'all took my class and y'all don't know what we 3 days away from. 3 days away from fourth quarter. Yes. Any other time I will be excited about that. But the way the market is going right now, I'm not really excited. But the market is getting better. So we're gonna go ahead and take some questions. This is a free for all question. So if you have any questions in reference to dispatching, getting into dispatching, questions about you already in the business and you have a issue, any questions at all, raise your hand. We are taking your free for all questions right now to get you guys going. Oh, y'all don't waste no time. What type of load boards do I need to be using in rep for box trucks? Okay, I answered this question on every call. There is no magic box truck load board. Trust me, I wish I knew if there was a magic box truck load board. There is no magic box truck load board. It just unfortunately does not work like that. When it comes to box trucks, it's definitely a niche. And I talk about it a lot in my class because right now, when it comes to setting up trucking industries and setting up businesses, the box trucks are the ones that are purchasing trucks. They're the ones that are coming into the industry right now and getting these trucks and getting into the business. So it behooves you guys to learn what they are and learn how to move a box truck. We use DAT, we use 123 truck stop. You can only use Selectus if you are a carrier. So if you have a carrier that gives you access to their Selectus, and you could use that Selectus for that particular carrier. What happens with Selectus is you get into the thing where some of the brokers will tell you that, when you're calling on the loads, that this is not your load board, that you're not the MC that's authorized to use this board. So that's why it's hard to use Selectus when you're a dispatcher. The last thing you want to do is go through the motions to purchase Selectus the right way, which is, I think right now it's about $3,000 down and about $500 a month. And then find out that they're taking it away from you because you misused it. And again, it's really strictly just for carriers. But the thing with box trucks, and I'll go to the load board in a few minutes to kind of show you guys some tips. But the thing with box trucks is it's about a patience game. You just have to go in there, be sure that you have your search criteria correct, and have patience. Just have the patience, because you're going to be calling on a lot more loads that you would be calling on versus if you were dispatching for, a dry van or a reefer or a hot shot. So it's not the easiest thing to do, but it definitely, there's definitely money into it if you wanted to learn that niche. How do you get into the dispatching business? My recommendation to getting into the business is to find a good course, take the course, continue your education, and get your business set up. Figure out what your niche is going to be, what type of vehicles you want to dispatch for, and you go from there. It's really just that simple. The dispatch business is not the easiest thing in the universe, but once you get the education and once you continue your education, like getting on these type of calls or, taking other trainings. I tell people all the time, even if you take my training, that's not like the final training you should ever take. There are other classes, there are other videos, there's other things that you want to be sure that you are keeping abreast on when it comes to this industry. It's not just about dispatching. You want to be sure that you're subscribed to the FMCSA's blog. They have great information that they drop all the time. I mean, all the regulations come from the FMCSA. So if you're not paying attention to what they're doing and what rules they're dropping, you're doing yourself a disservice. You also want to be sure that you are subscribing to things like freightwaves.com, overdrives.com, I think it's called logistics.offers.com. All of these different places have newsletters and things that they drop information when it comes down to the transportation industry. Do I offer a mentorship program? Is that age? Like my age? I went to school age. Oh, wow. Do I offer a mentorship program? Yes, I offer several mentorship and coaching. On my website, goldstarlogistics.com, you can find any information in reference to my coaching, my 90-day program, my 90-day programs. My next class is October the 23rd in person in Atlanta, Georgia. Or I have an extended class all through the month of October, which is also online as well. Those are actually my last 2 classes. I won't be teaching anymore after those 2 classes, but my courses will be online. What is the best way to get carriers to dispatch for? Advertise. Let people know what you're doing. Truck stops, FMCSA, that load board. I'm gonna show you a few ways. Let me share my screen. All right. I know I've done this before, so. Okay, so I can't see the screen. All right, so when you go to the FMCSA website, under the license and insurance public profile, if you click on up here at the top where it says choose your menu option, and you're going to click on carrier search and click go. I'm sorry, that's wrong. You're gonna click on FMCSA register and click go. Right here where it says 927 PDF, or you can view it HTML. These are all the people who have active authorities. So your job is to go through here now. Pay attention when you're going through here, because you only want to deal or call the ones that have subscribed for a motor common authority, not the freight forwarders and not the brokers. So anytime you see a B, that's a broker. A C, that's a carrier. So you're calling on to these people, and you're letting them know. Once you download the report, it allows you to actually click into it. Let's see. Nope. Why isn't it? Change this up a little bit. There you go. So once you get into the report, here we go. Interstate common carrier. So this is a interstate common carrier that just did his authority. It just became active. So here's his phone number. You can give him a call and you can just say, hey, this is Tawana from Gold Star Logistics. Congratulations on your new authority. Wanted to see if you can possibly provide me with your email address so I can send you some information in reference to my services. So we want to get their email address so you're not keeping them on the line, like boring them with your whole pitch. You want to keep that phone call short and simple. Can I get your email address? So, and then you have a template that you already have in place that you copy and paste to each one of these people. You should be doing this at least 20 to 25 times a week. 20 to 25 different ones. Just pull 20 to 25 different ones and get their information and give them the information in reference to your services. So that's one way in reference to when it comes to the FMCSA. Again, MC numbers come from the FMCSA. So what a better way to get carriers is from people who are already, registered with the FMCSA. They just got their registration. They're ready to go. They may be looking for someone to provide them with this information or someone to provide them with these services. They may not even know about dispatches or these services. So you'd have to, get in there and give them the knowledge that they need about what you offer. Another way is going to be DAT. DAT, if you go up here at the top, and you have to have DAT power for this. Click on directory at the top, right here where it says research new business partners. That's exactly what you're doing. You want new business partners. You want new people to work with. You drop this company type down to carriers. You can always start with the state that you live in. If you don't want to start with the state that you live in, you can, search for different ways. When you bring up your search, it's going to tell you your search has resulted in more than 500 matches, which means there are a lot of carriers out there. Same thing, you're going to go through this list. These are all active carriers. This list is pulled from the FMCSA and updated every 24 hours. So you're going to go through this and do the same exact thing. Some of them will list email addresses, some of them won't, but just give them a call and introduce yourself and let them know about the services that you provide. Okay, so a part of you being a dispatcher, part of you opening up your own business to be dispatchers is you being a salesperson. You have to sell yourself to these people. What type of services do you provide? What value are you adding to them? So you have to be able to get out there and sell yourself to them in reference to your services. How many carriers should one dispatcher have? That is definitely going to be up to you. You're the only one that can really gauge that. I recommend at least 4 to 5 for you to be making any type of, a good income on a weekly basis. I recommend at least 4 to 5. We have some people that dispatch for 7 or 10. It all depends on the type of trucks you have and the difficulty it is to dispatch for those vehicles. So you have 7 box trucks. Yeah, that's going to take you a minute. And you have to be able to provide the same type of service, the same type of customer service, and the same type of value to each and every last one of your customers. So, you have to determine, is 7 box trucks going to be too much for me? Or it's maybe 4 or 5 box trucks is enough, or maybe you have a mixture. So you just have to determine for you, how many trucks can you actually handle? When it gets to the point where you are not providing the same value or the same customer service to each and every one of your drivers, you have too many carriers. I hope that answers your questions. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Unmute yourself, talk to me, y'all.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
How you doing?
How you doing?
I wanted to ask, she asked inside of the comments, how should we scale? It's like when it comes to like adding more dispatchers, like that's my thing as far as like, do I pay you a percent? Do I show you all, what the whole income is? Like, how do I, like, what do you recommend?
So scaling is definitely great. I did it. I'm doing it as we speak. So, you have to decide again, are you stepping out of dispatching it and you want to allow other people to kind of run that side of your business for you? Or are you dispatching and you have way too many carriers and it's time for you to add someone else to help you so that you can continue to provide that same type of customer service? Either way, you want, like Vanessa said, you want to make sure you set it up correctly for your business wise. Make sure you're setting everybody up as a 1099. And be sure that you have an ICA for each one of the dispatches that you bring on. An ICA is an independent contractor agreement. So you're being sure that you have that contract for each and last one of them, and state in that contract what it is that you offer, what it is that you expect. So for me, it's based on as far as the percentage that dispatcher gets paid, it's based on the type of vehicle. So if it's a box truck, I charge I think I charge 9.55%, and the dispatchers get 5%. If it's a drive-in, I think I charge 7%, dispatch gets 3%. So you just determine like what your prices are going to be, what your percentage is going to be, and put everything, make sure you highlight everything in the contract. Do they have to have their own email accounts? Do they have to have their own phone account? Are you going to provide this? And then are you going to provide the load boards and then charge them a fee? Whatever structure you want to have, outline it in your independent contracting agreement, and hire dispatchers and make sure you're paying them 1099.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What is the best way to get y'all? I already answered that question. Any other questions? No questions? Y'all just don't want to talk to me. Y'all just shy.
All right, I have a question.
Go ahead, Miss. Is it Vita?
Vita, it's Vita, yes.
And then I'll get the other one.
My question for you is business credit for dispatching. Like, do you have it established? Do you use it? And I imagine that's what you're using to scale now that I think about it, but what did that look like for you?
Business credit was a struggle for me because I had screwed up personal credit. So I thought they were different, and they're not. It's almost like taxes. You can't have business taxes and not have personal taxes. So it's kind of like the same thing. You have to be sure that your personal taxes is kind of in order as well. In reference in order to do whatever it is that you need to do with business credit. I do have a free PDF on my website, GoStyleLogisticsGroup.com. It's called How to Get Business Credit. And it takes you through the first 4 to 5 steps that you need in order to start getting started into like your first tier cars, your second tier and third tier accounts and things like that. After I got out of my first tier, I was like, ooh, this is exciting. Because the first tier was like, minor stuff like an Office Depot card and Quill accounts and Granger accounts, like stuff I was like, I don't need none of this stuff. But it was more so that, not that I needed the stuff, but I had to place like small orders every single month to establish the business credit. And once I was able to, establish business credit, then the young lady that was coaching me through it was from there, it was like, okay, let's apply for these cards. So then it was like Home Depot cards and it went up, Capital One. So it's like a tier, you do the first tier for like 3 or 4 months, then you do the next tier for another 3 or 4 months, and then you continue going that route. Eventually for me, it got to the point where I was able to go to a car lot and my whole car is in Gold Star Logistics name. So it definitely pays off to have it. It's definitely beneficial to have it. But it takes some time to build it. But definitely start out with that document. I think Yanika's name is on that document if you want to reach out to her for questions and consultations from there. Did you open the cars in your business? And yes, my car, my actual Mercedes is in Gold Star. Like my name ain't on it at all. So yeah, it works if you do it the right way.
Hi, Tawana, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
My brother has been in the trucking industry for years, so I'm just trying to determine whether I want to be a freight broker or a dispatcher. And there are some things like on my personal credit that I'm trying to like pay off, like my student loan. That's the major debt that I have. But he has his own shippers. He doesn't deal with the broker. He's been in this industry for like 30 years and he keeps telling me, hey, you need to do this. But what he's trying to do, which I set up my business, did everything I need to do because I was actually originally going to do freight brokering. But then kind of got delayed because of the finances. I need to, save some more money to get things started. And pay off some things. So he just keeps telling me that only thing I will have to do, he's going to give me the loads and I just post them. And I'm like, can I do that?
It's called double brokering.
That's what I told him. I said that. I'm
not going
to jail for you. Huh?
Is he a broker?
No, he's a carrier. He has his own trucks.
That's double brokering.
That's what I keep saying. So how would I be able to, because he has his own shippers. He don't go through freight brokering or anything. So
he doesn't have his own shippers per se. He has dedicated freight.
Yeah, he's been with these companies for like years, and he like whatever his trucks can't hold, they'll say, well, hey, can you find somebody? And he wants me to like create my business and I move the loads. But I was like, in order for me to do that, I have to be a broker, right?
Yes, you would have to be a broker. Hopefully when they say, can you find somebody, he's not finding them under and using his own authority to book their loads. Hopefully he's doing that the correct way. But okay, so going the broker route is not cheap. Your personal credit definitely has to be in order to go the broker route, because you have to get a surety bond, and your surety bond is going to be based on your personal credit. You can go anywhere between paying $1,000 for a surety bond till literally just the other day, someone said that they asked her to pay $7,600 on a $75,000 surety bond. You shouldn't be paying no more than $2,500 in the surety bond. If you're paying any more than $2,500 to get a surety bond, it's going based on your credit. Then maybe you need to step back and get that type of stuff fixed first before you move forward into getting an actual surety bond. But in order to actually broker that freight from that shipper, you would have to actually be an authority carrying broker. You can be a dispatcher and assist with the freight. The only difference with that is you're not a broker, so you're not brokering the freight. And anytime you would get a load for someone, they are the ones that would have to get directly paid from that shipper. Okay. So each MC, let's say you had 5, let's say they had 10 loads and you needed 10 trucks. Each MC would actually have to get paid from that actual shipper. You couldn't broker the freight where it was like, okay, the shipper's going to pay me and I'm going to pay you. That's also double broker because dispatchers don't have authorities. So you can't broker something under something you don't have.
Yeah, he's actually gonna pay the people himself. So I'm just like, how am I gonna make money?
Doesn't have a broker authority. So if the shipper is giving him the loads and then the shipper is paying him for the loads, he is double brokering.
Okay.
And he just come in on the family business.
But I was like, that's what I was like, from what I've learned, this is not, I'm not doing that. So, okay, I just need to start. So if I were to dispatch, like get into dispatching, I just have to find my own carriers.
Right, you would find carriers to dispatch for. Ultimately, the legal way to do it is a carrier should pay a dispatcher. Shipper is going to pay a broker is going to pay a carrier, and a carrier is going to pay a dispatcher. If carriers are paying other carriers or dispatchers are paying other dispatchers, you are illegally double brokering freight.
Okay, that's what I thought, and I told him that too.
Yeah, this is why I'm like strongly against anytime I see a dispatcher say, "Hey, give me a call. I have dedicated freight." You can't have dedicated freight. You don't have an authority, so you can't. You just have a relationship with somebody that has freight, and you're posting their freight. But you as a dispatcher with no authority, no surety bond, cannot state that you have dedicated freight.
But if I were to get my freight broker license, I could do that. Okay.
You were to get your freight broker license and that shipper agreed to allow you to broker his freight, then yeah, you would be brokering the freight to the couriers. And then you would be paying the carriers as a broker and the shipper will be paying you directly.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question. As an owner operator, how do you obtain dedicated lanes?
Relationships. It's so important for owner operators to be professional, to be sure that their drivers are professional. You gotta treat it like a business. You're the one that's in there. Your driver is the one that's inside that warehouse, talking to the loading managers, talking to the route managers. They're the ones that are in there, whether they're in there dressed in a nice little uniform shirt and some nice pants, or maybe they're in there with a wife beater and some flip-flops. It's all going to depend on that relationship that you're going to be in with that shipper. Several times, I've had, my boyfriend go into shippers and he's like, hey, shipping manager said he has such and such loads and to call him, and I called him on behalf of his MC and he was able to get dedicated freight based on just him being polite. He came in, he was polite, he was this, he was that. On the flip side, you got some of them that go in there with wife beaters and flip-flops and the shippers don't want to deal with them at all. So you got to build your relationships. It's all about that professionalism, you being inside that shipper, showing them that you're professional. Because if you're telling them that you want to secure their dedicated freight, they need to know that they can depend on you and they can count on you. Like, were you on time? Did you have your paperwork? Is your driver professional? Your truck have all the correct wording on the side of your truck, meaning whatever is on your BOL, whatever is on your rate con, it's the same MC and authority that's on the side of your truck. So all of that is how you build a relationship. So you can walk in there, a carrier all day long, all day, even sometimes better than a broker, can walk in to a shipper and say, hey, I'm based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I have 2 trucks. I'm always in this area. What do you think about us running your lanes dedicated? You have a better chance of getting those lanes than a broker does because they don't have to go through all that red tape, plus paying all that 30% or 15% on top of what they need to pay the broker in order for the broker to pay you. Okay, so it's all about your professionalism. It's all about you going in there marketing yourself as a carrier. The same way dispatchers need to market themselves, you want to market yourself as a carrier so you can go in there and ask those questions. I always tell drivers all the time, go in there and find out who the shipping manager is, who's the shipping manager, who's the logistics manager. Those are the people that schedule the routes. Those are the people that you need to talk to when it comes down to what type of lanes you have, what type of freight you have available. Okay.
That was great.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, Miss Vanessa just dropped her information to her Money Mastermind class, and now I'm also going to take that link and drop it into my group as well, so you have it. That is the link for the discount. I strongly suggest you guys jump on that class, especially since it's almost time for tax season. But you know, $75, $97, no code needed. But as we wrap up, okay, go ahead, Miss Tamara, you got a question? Talk to me, boo. Unmute your mic. Tamara Hill, got your hand raised. You just raising your hand just to see if the feature work, or you got a question for me? You are very welcome, Ms. Akira. I hope I didn't say your name. I'm always butchering somebody's name. Okay, Tamara going once, no question. You good? Okay, she ain't want to talk to me now. She gonna go. Oh, she unraised her hand. All right. Any other questions? All right. So you terminate a driver verbally, letter, or email? All three. You definitely want to put it in writing. Especially if you had a contract in place. I would not recommend verbally. I definitely would recommend writing. I would definitely email him, and you can email it to him, but I would also send a certified copy to his house as well. Oh, it won't mute. You can type your questions if you want or not. Let me see if I can unmute. Do you have more spots for your Atlanta dispatch class? I believe so. You can go to my website, goldstarlogisticsgroup.com. The class is October the 23rd. But I believe there are a few classes. When is the Money Matters master class? Vanessa, it's the 30th, correct? I think it's the 30th. I want to say it's the 30th. The class is the 30th, but I think you also get like the recording, and you get a whole bunch of workbooks and stuff that goes with the course as well.
Well, $97, that's good. I have a question.
Drop it.
So my question is, if you work as a dispatcher for a carrier, you can't like speak to the shippers on their behalf? Like you have to book it through them?
No, you can speak on their carrier's behalf. My thing is, let me give you an example. So I had a dispatcher that said she called the shipper and she said to the shipper, I dispatched for 12 guys. So I have 12 trucks, and I'm looking at this lane that, I just ran this load for you. We have this, we have the capacity to run this lane. First of all, there is no we, because she's not a we. She's just a dispatcher that has 12 carriers with 12 different MCs. Now, if she was to book that load, I'll tell you how she ended up doing it and how it was wrong. So the way you go about it is you let them know that you have the 12 trucks. They have 12 separate MCs. Each one of those MCs will get a direct payment from that shipper. That's fine. That's just that dispatcher securing those dedicated lanes for you. And as a dispatcher, you then have to determine how are you going to get paid on those dedicated lanes. We still get a percentage on dedicated lanes because I'm the one that secured the contract. I'm the one that, went in and did the verbiage and did the talking for you. So you have to decide what is going to be that percentage for you when it comes to dedicated lanes. The way she ended up doing it was the shipper ended up paying her. And then she was responsible for paying the carriers, which ended up not only being double brokering, but it ended up being a mess for her, because it seemed like she had all this money filtering through to her when it came time for tax season, when in all actuality, it wasn't really her funds at all. Okay, so it causes more messes than it does, especially legal wise. So you can definitely go to a shipper and say, hey, you know, I dispatch for ABC carrier. He's always in this area. We ran this lane for you guys a few times. Just want to see, like, you know, what would it look like with us possibly running this lane for you dedicated. And, you know, you can quote the lane. He'll send you some lanes to quote, and he'll pay that carrier based on probably a net 30. And shippers can also be factored. Okay, so if your shipper if your carrier is using a factoring company, that shipper can still be factored. So if that shipper says we pay net 30, they can factor that load through their factoring company and still get paid within 24 to 48 hours, just like a broker. That answer your question?
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, now I've set up everything. I think I'm ready to get started.
Okay.
I got my office space, I got my number, I got my email, my fax, then my LLC, my website, my EIN, my DUNS, my bank account, my factoring company is set up. Now I'm gonna do the QuickBooks. Is there anything else I need?
You are setting up to be a
dispatcher.
So when you say you have a factoring company set up, what do you mean?
I set it up with the OTR Capital.
It's for their affiliate program.
Right.
Okay, just making sure. All right, so what was the question?
I think I did all the steps I need to get started, and I was trying to see, is there anything else I missed?
It sounds like you're in the right track. So did you say you have your website, you have logo, you started your marketing?
Yes.
Okay. It sounds like you're in the right track. You got your business structure set up. You got your marketing ready to go. Do you have your agreement ready? So if you had a carrier tomorrow, you have an agreement ready to send him?
Yes, I have the ones that you sent, and I changed all the verbiage as you asked in the class.
Okay. It sounds like you're ready to go. You need to get the marketing, get you a carrier, and get the dispatcher. Fourth quarter is arising. Make that money, girl.
I know you just said about, I just found out about the DAX directory.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking on that now. Now, when I go on that and I go to the, what am I know in the other one you said, look for the.
Well, on that directory at the very top, it says directory. And then when you click on the directory, you're going to click on research new business partners.
Research new business partners. Okay, the ones that I see, most of them say customer since 2017.
Right. That means they've been registered with the DAP board since 2017.
So they're not new customers.
No, they're not new. The DAP board directory is a mixture of a bunch of people. I think you can go in there. Don't quote me on this, but I think there's a way of searching and filtering your search for people who've been in there since 2021, if you want like the more of the newer people. But for the newer people, that's more so of running that report on the FMCSA side.
Okay. Okay. I'll do that.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I just signed up for the class. I'm excited. I'm excited too. Loretta. You signed up for the in-person class or the online class? Loretta. Oh, for Money Matters. Okay, that's fine. You got to sign up for my class, bro. I'm just playing. That's good. Miss Vanessa's gonna take care of you over there. All right, y'all. It's 7:09, and y'all don't have no other questions. I can't wait till November. What happens in November? Oh, I guess duh. November, Leading Ladies of Logistics third annual conference, November 4th through the 6th. I should be ashamed of myself. If you guys have not signed up for our conference, yeah, there's still a few slots left. Definitely get your tickets. It's going to be great. We were talking about her. Is there any way I can get those and change the verbiage? Anyone who has taken my courses, they have access to my Slack group. So that's why they have access to all my forms. So if you have not taken my class, that's why you don't understand what she's talking about. But the forms are available to anyone who takes Gold Stars classes in that Slack group. Okay. Well, all right, y'all. If nobody else has any questions, again, we try to do this, well, not try. We will be doing this once a month. I'll be posting. You have Slack. I will. It's in the pinned post. So if you go in the pinned post in Slack, right at the top, you click on pinned post. You'll see all the forms and everything under there. If you can't find it, direct message me in Slack, and I will go ahead and let you know where it is. You're welcome. All right. So again, we do this once a month. You know, it's not all about selling a course. So if there's something I can offer you guys, is there some kind of information I can come on here and make sure that you guys have, so that you guys can have successful businesses? I definitely plan to be on here at least once a month for an hour, to be sure, so I can answer whatever questions you have, so you guys can be successful in your journeys. So I do appreciate your support. I appreciate you being here. I hope the session was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next session. So until next time, you guys, good night, and thank you guys so much for being here. Nighty night. Hey, Nija.
Thank you.